Okay, once you've determined what your next how-to or training DVD is going to be about, then the next part of the process is really breaking that down into a project, step by step, chapter by chapter, what each section is going to be about. Much like what I'm doing with the DVD that I'm recording now. But to give you an example, I'm going to use this DVD, a recent DVD that we did, the WordPress in 1 hour, and how we kind of go about, a lot of times how I go about breaking down a project step by step. Now, a lot of authors or people that are writing books will tend to break that down into an outline, and you can use an outline, but sometimes not everyone thinks in a list format. Sometimes people are more visual, and I like to start with a core concept and kind of branch out from there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you go over to a site called freemind.sourceforge.net, you can download a free software program called FreeMind. And if you go down, once you go down there, you can scroll down. You just click on this link right there, and that will let you download the program. Once you get it installed, it's going to look something like this right here when you get started. Of course, it's actually, let me show you what it's going to look like. This is going to be the new when you're starting afresh. You're going to start with always start with your core concept or your central theme, which is in this case it's always going to say new mind map. So to get started, we would title it, in our case, WordPress, and so we start with WordPress DVD or WordPress in 1 hour, and then from there we can start branching out what our chapters are going to be about. And kind of break those down, and this is going to help us in building the project, so that we're able to kind of prioritize things, and then we can notate what's coming next. We can have all of that in an organized format. So let's get out of this. We won't save this. And then we'll come back to the one that I've worked on, or I just put this together earlier. And this just gives you an example. Instead of taking up the time and adding these, when you go to the central theme, you can add your chapters, or you can branch out with your chapter titles, or the next section of your DVD by simply going down to Add New Child node. And you'll notice here I've already completed 4 of them, which is setting up a domain, select hosting, installing WordPress onto hosting, and then customizing the theme. Now I might add another one that's on adding plugins. And then I would go down, and then you would select New Child Theme. Very simple to do, as you can see, this program. And then I might have one on adding widgets. And then let's see, I might add another one. In fact, I may, as an example, I might want to come up here and then add a subcategory, a couple of subcategories onto setting up a domain. I might want to create, if we go up here, we can actually branch out from these from the existing chapters, kind of make a sub chapter and create one onto that's called finding a domain. And what I like to use a lot of times is a program called Nameboy.com to find domain names that I need to look for. And then we might add another called using using GoDaddy.com, And that's generally what I use for selecting my for my domains, is using GoDaddy.com. And you see how that works. We can break these down. I'm going to come back over here and add for these, add our little, we can add numbers as far as prioritizing. Let's see, we've got, we'll add 5, and then we can add 6 for the widgets, and we can keep going. And also we can keep going, adding our kind of our subcategories, adding the child node onto these existing nodes, until we basically come up with a fully functional, a full mind map representation of what our project's going to look like. So once you have that, it's going to make creating your DVD much easier, because you've got everything laid out in a mind map format. And again, there's a lot of paid-for software. There's one in particular called Mindjet.com, and it's very expensive, but you can download this free Mind, and I've used it plenty of times. You can download it for free and use it to mind map all of your projects, not just your DVDs, but any new projects, websites, or anything like that you plan on doing. So now that we've got that, we've worked on that. Maybe now that we've created the core concept and the outline of what that project's going to look like, now we can get into the process of actually creating the DVD, and we're going to talk about that next.